Hey, in this video, we'll discuss how we turned 20 years of Excel contacts into an AI-powered sales machine. We'll go over what was the setup that our client was running, what we changed, and what are the next steps for them. So let's dive in. First, their initial setup, they didn't have a CRM. So all the contacts were scattered through multiple Excel sheets, as we mentioned. Their industry was IT services, license, and products, and their sales process was phone only with manual follow-ups. They didn't use LinkedIn and they didn't use a lot of emails. They didn't have a centralized contact history or task tracking. So the contacts were, as I mentioned, in sheets, and there wasn't any tracking. Everything was manually done. And the data was amassed over 20 years, and there wasn't any cleanup. And this is an example of how an Excel sheet looks. This is just a part of an Excel sheet. It had multiple columns, and not all sheets were the same. The issues were that SDR were manually doing everything and calling the leads, sending emails, following up, and so on. And they had duplicated and outdated records because over the years, many of these contacts were not really working at the same companies. So the data wasn't reliable. And they didn't have a way to track when was the last time they had a follow-up or a call or anything like that with prospects. So they didn't have a systematic way of doing follow-ups and creating a sales pipeline, and no automation at all. Because of this, there were a lot of missed opportunities happening in their company. And the new workflow, we first had to clean the data, restructure it, enrich it, and then put it in the CRM. And then we could add automation and AI to everything. So the first step was to create an AI data cleaning agent. It took the name of the prospect, email, and the company, and the agent was connected to Google search. So it searched for those prospects and then look to find a LinkedIn profile and use that to verify the data. So to check, is that prospect still working at the same company and is the data valid? Next, we, as I mentioned, enriched all the leads with the things that we found using that agent. So LinkedIn URLs and maybe some new data on LinkedIn. And we used an email verification tool to verify all the emails. So we can flag the ones that are not being used anymore. Once we had all of the data cleaned and enriched, we had to map all of those to the same format and have standardized fields inside the CRM. And we've used HubSpot as the CRM. And we've created follow-up tasks for all of the new contacts. So that can be the first basis. As soon as someone then follows up, we create a new task and then we continue the process. After we had that, we've implemented multi-channel outreach automations. So for LinkedIn, we were sending out connection requests and nurture sequences for everyone that responded. For emails, we've added a cold email campaign using Instantly, and that was also tied up to the AI follow-up system that I'll show shortly. And the AI system was summarizing the conversations and scheduling next steps automatically. So for instance, if they were talking with someone on LinkedIn or WhatsApp, but they didn't book a call or made a sale, next time when the task was to follow up with that lead, the AI could summarize all the previous conversations and then craft a personalized message based on that. This is the UI that is used for quality control. So they have a user interface where they can check the messages, edit the messages, and then approve them when they are satisfied before sending. This can also be used multiple ways. So if the lead interest level is smaller, so maybe it's not a big company or they haven't been responding to the messages for a long time, we don't want to use a lot of manual effort. So those just have a quick review and they approve the message and send it, or even do it entirely automatically. If the leads are more important, then we can double check the messages and maybe add some additional manual touch points like calling them or something like that. And once the follow-up is performed, that task is being closed and a new task is open in HubSpot. So we don't forget to keep following up with the leads. And that is entirely customizable. Impact and results. So their estimate, and I think it's an optimistic estimate, was that they can prepare the data in 5 days. So to go through all contacts, clean them up, find LinkedIn profiles, and check the emails. Once we've set up our AI agent, it was done in 2 hours. We also saw an 80% increase in SDR productivity because they automated a lot of things like creating follow-up messages, and some initial like outreaches to cold traffic was automated. So they didn't have to do it by hand. And that freed up the time for custom proposals and closing deals. Next steps for our client is to add an auto-classify AI agent for all of the replies they get. So when someone replies on LinkedIn, AI can classify as the lead interested or not. And based on that, either add them to some follow-up sequences, connect them to an SDR, or mark them in the CRM that they are not interested and they shouldn't be following up, at least like for some time, like 6 months or a year. Another big improvement that we'll be working on is rolling out an AI system for proposals and quotes. So if a prospect requests some custom quote for servers or some specific hardware, that can go through the AI system that compares multiple distributors and then craft the proposal and quote and send them to them, so they don't have to use like manual labor to do it. So that will be the next step in increasing the productivity. Again, it can be exposed through a UI system, so someone can take a look and say, yeah, that looks right, and send the request to them. Or it can be fully automatic. So it's usually a good step first to have a human in the loop to review everything until we're sure that the system is performing well. Even if someone is reviewing and improving it, you will still see like a 70 to 80% increase in productivity. And to extend the enrichment agent to new inbound leads. So everyone that comes either to WhatsApp, a website form, or as a result of the outbound campaigns that we are running, to be fully enriched, and then added some lead scores to know how to prioritize the leads. Conclusion. As we discussed, like this is how we turned 20 years of old data into an AI system that significantly boosts the productivity of their team and creates a solid process for their like sales system. If you are interested in building something like this or want to add AI to your business, I'll leave a link below where you can submit your request. Like what would you like to automate? And then I can send you a custom video that will explain how you can do that. And we can schedule a call and talk it through. So let me know what you think.